What's up guys, Alex here from True Life Philosophy. And today I want to talk a little bit about mystical experiences and or awakenings. They're the same thing. And what this basically is are experiences that no one can really explain. There's no reason behind them, but they just, it's where people just have certain realizations about, you know, the universe, about themselves, about maybe even social, economical issues. It's where people realize that kind of good and evil is non-existent. It's only subjectivity of what is good and evil, and many other things. Anyways, I'm just going to share a few with you about ones that me and other people have had. So I'll start with mine first. So my mystical experience, I wouldn't call it so mystical. It was more of a realization than anything. So I was in physical science class, right? And there was a textbook on a table that we happened to be working at. And I looked directly on the table, and there was a quote by Isaac Newton. I believe it was the third law of motion. It said, "For every action is an equal and opposite reaction." And then, for some reason, that rang in my head like 3 times. Equal and opposite reaction, equal and opposite reaction, equal and opposite reaction. And then, bam! It just, everything clicked, and I freaked out. And what I mean by everything clicked is that literally everything in the universe has an action and a reaction. Has a cause and effect. You can't have night without day. You can't have yin without yang. You can't have systole without diastole. You can't have the masculine without the feminine energy. Right? It's all one thing. You need both for this universe to exist. And at the same time, I don't know how I came to this conclusion, but this is just my experience. I perceived that we are all connected by something. And I don't know what this something is, but all I do know is that it's real. We are a collective. The universe is not something outside of us. It is us. And I just felt enlightened all day, but at the same time really excited. And I was telling all my friends like about it, and I was freaking out, but they didn't really understand. But that's all right. Anyway, there are other mystical experiences, and I'll give you one of Carl Jung's experiences. And I got this story from a channel called Golden Jacket Luke. So I'm just doing that so no one thinks I just stole his video or anything. But it was a really cool story, and I'd love to use that one. Carl Jung once there was once a knock on his door, and he opened it, right? And there was a presence that he felt. There was no one there, but there was a presence he felt. This energy, these spirits that just came into his house, and they were in his living room. So he walked into his living room, and they were crusaders from the Crusades, and they wanted to know what they did was worth. Was it for the bettering of humanity, etc., etc., because they felt cheated somehow. And so Carl Jung gave them a brief lesson of history, and then the Crusaders left. And that was one of Carl Jung's most crazy experiences. And this is a guy who's made many great discoveries about the brain, you know, the mind, and the functionings of it, based lots on just philosophy. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if the fact that, you know, he might have had mystical experiences gave him more insight to certain things than other people, which it probably did, but it's interesting nonetheless. And anyway, there's another kind of mystical experience that I've seen where people have literally perceived God. Like, they just feel this higher presence, not necessarily like a religious biblical God, but they feel a higher being among them. They don't feel alone. They just feel with it. and I'm not sure how this experience happens, but often for basically any mystical experience, usually it happens with the use of psychedelic substances, which I've never tried, but but you never know. There's one drug called ayahuasca that pretty much will wake anyone up and allow people to expand their consciousness in every single way. It's called ayahuasca, and you can only get it if you go to an Indian reserve, a Native American reserve, and there will be shamans there, and they'll give it to you, and you'll hallucinate, and you'll probably throw up a little bit. And I mean, there are lots of documentaries about that drug, and lots of research about it, and it literally will expand your consciousness. I'm not exactly sure about the neuroscience of that. I know there is some, but I haven't researched it so much. This is basically a video based on experience. And experience is very, very real. Even if it's only a perception of reality, it's still your reality. Because you're not reading something off of a piece of paper and taking it as faith, even though it might change years and years down the road later. But it's something that you've gone through personally, and then once you go through that experience, you create emotions that are associated with that thing, and you become very attached to it, and you become very close to it, which can be a bad thing because it can make you a bit more closed-minded. So anyway, guys, that's all I have to say about mystical experiences and awakenings. In the comments below, tell me if you've had any crazy similar situations. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, add to favorites, do whatever. And thank you very much. Have a great day.